Welcome, fellow freaks, geeks, and nostalgic peeps to my channel, Slime & Slashers, where, yeah, we talk about everything from Nickelodeon slime to horror movie slashers, but plenty of stuff in between, like books, and we also film things like vlogs, and I don't know why I'm saying we like I'm more than one person, but anyway, you know it's me that I'm talking about, not a we, but here we are, and this is the beginning of a vlog, and as usual, this is kind of being filmed earlier in the morning, and that means I'm going to be tongue-twisted. I'm going to be ridiculous. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here with me. This is going to be the start of a vintage horror reading vlog, and so I'm going to try to read the book Stitch in this vlog. I also am going to try to read the book Gnelfs in this vlog. Gnelfs is almost, I guess you could call it kind of about killer little Smurfs. It's a spoof on Smurfs. They're not actually Smurfs, but they definitely seem like Smurfs. I already started Gnelfs, so I'm about 25% into Gnelfs. It's not the best in terms of the writing. I have much higher hopes for the book Stitch by Mark Morris, because I have read another book by Mark Morris, and that was Toady. And Toady is wonderful. So good. Ugh. It made it in my top 10 of 2022, by the way. I am buddy reading Stitch with my friend Alex. I'm also going to try to read Pin by Andrew Neiderman for Kelly over at Kelly Hooked on Books, her book club, which is called the From Hell book club. We will see if I get to that or not. I may not get to that. That'll be my third book, and we'll just see how everything goes. This might be a long vlog in terms of it might take place over a week or two, and then I'll release this like next month. Right now, as I'm filming this opening clip, it's January 17th, a Tuesday, a random Tuesday. Had a great weekend, had a little birthday kind of party, / scary sleepover weekend hosted by the Bookubus reading sprint party. That was so much fun. Oh, thank you to anyone who was there with me, whether you were a guest on screen with me or if you were in the chat. Either way, thank you so much. All right, guys, that is enough chat. Let's get into the other clips. Hey guys, it has been a few days since I checked in. I'm currently on sprints on Lexi's channel. Check out her channel, Books with Lexi. A lot of great people are here with me and Lexi right now. We've got flippin' Kaylee from Kaylee's Books. We've got Andrew from It Came From the Page. And of course, Katrina from Katrina Brown, the channel. They are all amazing. I love them all. Please follow them all. And anyway, we're having a blast, but I started Stitch a couple of days ago. Been buddy reading this with my friend Alex, the Bookubus. I am 19 chapters in on page 169, loving this. Lots of characters, but great character development. The language is out of this world. Weird stuff happening. And I just read like a really heartbreaking part about a kid going through some really terrible trauma from these bullies. So this is wonderful. Still don't really know what's going on with Stitch, except for Stitch seems to have the power to influence certain people and almost give them the ability to then influence others. And yeah, one dude turns into like this mad magician who can like float and create trees out of bathtubs and shit. Anyway, I don't know what that has to do with anything. We're still learning things. It's a 500-page book, so yeah, I'm only, like I said, 169 pages in. Still a long way to go, but enjoying every minute of it. This feels like a fast read. Like last night, I only needed to read 50 pages, and I read like 50 more than I needed to. So I'm ahead of where I needed to be for my buddy read. We're supposed to be reading 50 pages a day, so I'm already ahead for this for today. So during these sprints, I am reading Gnelfs by Sidney Williams, and when I first started this vlog, I was about 25% in, and it was okay. The main character was a little grating to me because she seemed like she was complaining and worrying and just being really anxious all the time, which I can relate because I have anxiety, so I understand about being anxious, but it was hard to read about. It was like grating and stuff, but now I'm 55% in, and I'm freaking loving this book. This book is so fun. So these Gnelf characters, they're like coming to life. At first, they're torturing this girl, this little tiny girl, Heaven, and the mom's like, what's going on? No one else can see the Gnelfs, but they soon start to believe that something is going on that they cannot explain, because they see cuts appear on Heaven out of nowhere. They're like, okay, this is not normal. This does not happen. So the mom and a whole bunch of people around her are like, what do we do? How do we protect Heaven? And this dude named Danube? Anyway, I can't pronounce it very well, but Danube is like coming in and he's like,
yo, y'all are in trouble. I'm gonna help ya.
And somehow he's working for these nuns, trying to atone for something that his father did way back when, and I just found out who his father was, and I was like, oh! Anyway, I'm freaking loving this book, it's so weird. And, like, the little parts with the Gnelfs, they're like, your mom's a bitch! And everyone was laughing at me on Sprints because, like, the Gnelfs really did say that to Heaven about her mom. They literally said that line, and then they're calling other dudes effers, and anyway, the way they talk is hilarious. It does sound like how evil Smurfs would talk, but these guys, they're like little green cartoon characters, and we're finding out why Heaven is seeing them, why these cartoon characters who seem innocent kind of go wild and are becoming menacing. We're kind of learning that something more is going on here, something supernatural and sinister, and something to do with like black magic and occult shit. Anyway, it's so much fun, it's so zany. I'm really loving this right now. I wanted to take a break before I got too far in. I could finish this today if I had the time, we'll see. But I wanted to give an update before I got way too far in, and then, I'm done, and then I never updated. So, there's your update. I'm gonna go back to reading. I'm having a lot of fun. We've got 16 minutes left on this sprint, specifically, and then I'll be back talking with my buds. Hi guys, it's been a few days since I updated, I know. I mean, geez, it's been like forever, it feels like. I did want to give you an update, so I'm still reading Stitch by Mark Morris. I'm a little behind on my buddy read with Alex. I gotta see where she stopped, but as of now, I'm on chapter 50, page 343 out of 518. I'm still loving this book. Great characters, weird things happening. I can't really say too much. There's this guy who's influencing people, almost like developing a cult, but there's definitely supernatural elements, and there's a whole bunch of weird things happening with different people. It's too much to explain, really, and I want to kind of save my final thoughts for the end, and then I could maybe put things into words a little bit easier than I'm doing right now. And I also started and finished Gone to See the Riverman since I last checked in with you guys. This is my book club read for the month of January, this month that we're in as I'm filming this right now. Won't have the chats, the book club live stream with spoilers, until the first week of, actually it's the second week of February 7th, which is a Tuesday, and the live stream will start at 6 p.m. Central Time, and my co-host is the wonderful Books with Lexi. So, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Mostly, I was kind of nervous starting this because everyone was like, oh god, I'm scared for you to read it. Like my friend Katrina said that. Lots of people saying it's so disturbing, it's so messed up. And after reading this, I was like, what the hell is wrong with me? I did not find this that disturbing. I mean, yes, are there disturbing elements in this? Yes, for sure. Are there sad things in this? Yes. Despicable things that a character does? Yes. More than one character, actually. Yes. Maybe even offensive things in this? Yes. Should you look up trigger warnings? Yes. Just because I don't think it's super disturbing doesn't mean that you won't. So definitely be warned going into this. I did feel sadness for certain characters. I felt anger towards certain characters. There was a cool scene with the Riverman near the end. I do have some gripes with this book, though, overall. I'm going to talk about this a lot more in depth. If you've already read it, you'll be able to hear my thoughts when I have my discussion with Lexi again on February 7th. But my friend Amy and I and my friend Crystal and even my friend Ollie were talking about this in my Discord. And Amy was like, Kelsi, I'm just curious, like, what do you think is disturbing? What books are your most disturbing reads? And after she said that, I was like, that's true. What are my most disturbing books? And I realized that I've read a couple of books, 2 specifically, that just are way more disturbing than this. And maybe because I read those 2 books, that is why this doesn't hit me as hard as it does other people. Because I do feel like the 2 other books that I'm going to reveal, because inspired by Amy, now I want to do like a top 10 disturbing books. And there are still so many disturbing books that I have not read that I know my list will change, but she inspired me. I want to do a list now. Because I do think the 2 books that are at the top of my list are 2 of the most disturbing books ever, and I think most people agree. They're on the majority of people's top 10 disturbing books of all time that they've read. My hair is going crazy. You could see it in the light. It's from the heater I was just running. Sorry, it's like poking up. Anyway, so yeah, I had a good time with this, but not as disturbing as I expected. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. It was still really well written, but I just had some gripes with some of the things that developed and some of the way the story was written. For instance, I wish like some parts of the ending were a little more well-developed, less rushed, etc. But yeah, again, we'll talk more about it later. However, I can't wait to do this disturbing books list inspired by this. So today, I kind of took a break from working for a minute and wrote down my top disturbing books list. And some of them are disturbing but also zany, so like near the, tail end of the list where it's like not that disturbing but still disturbing. Some of them are more like, yeah, there's some ridiculous funny parts that are just like, oh, this doesn't even make sense, but then there are disturbing elements too. So I can't wait to go into that. But yeah, this is just a quick check-in. I've been doing terrible with this vlog in terms of B-roll. I said this last time, but all I've been doing really is just hanging around, reading, filming. I've been cleaning a little bit, but I'm still not where I need to be with taking down Christmas. And so this is my life right now, working because work's been crazy, updating my Patreon, which I just started because I really want to give a lot of bonuses. So I've been doing that. I haven't really been watching too many movies. Did have a watch party on my Discord for my Patreon members where we watched Overboard, which was a nice break from disturbing and dark things because it was a sweet romantic comedy, and I just love Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell and their chemistry so much. So much. I love that movie. There's some problematic things in that movie, but like for some reason, because of the actors, it really works, I think, because they had such great real chemistry together. It comes across on the screen, and you just love them together despite some of the weird things in the plot that are super like, oh my god, he shouldn't have done this kind of thing. Anyway, I really have had a good weekend reading and watching things and talking to friends and planning readathons for April, because my old school April, I've got some co-hosts and we're like talking about stuff and it's so much fun. I'm so excited. Anyway, that is my update. Not much going on besides all of that. Just living my life. Anyway, guys, I will update you when I finish Stitch, because then I thought I was going to read Pin by Andrew Neiderman, but I think since I added Going to See the Riverman into this vlog, I might wrap it up after just having read Stitch and Gnelfs. Gnelfs was so much fun. I think I told you guys I finished it. It was definitely a great read, a 4.5-star read, because it was just wild and wacky and a lot of fun. I had so much fun with the audio. I would recommend the audio because very few old school paperbacks have audio, but Gnelfs does. So, and it's funny, like especially the character of Danube, his voice, the narrator's voice for that character, I should say, was gold. I don't know why I liked it so much, but I did. Anyway, that is it for this time. Catch you later. Hey guys, it's been quite a few days since I checked in last, but I've been up to a lot, and I've been up to a lot of reading specifically. So I did finish Stitch by Mark Morris, and it was freaking incredible. It was so awesome of a read. So that was a buddy read with my friend Alex over at the channel The Bookubus. I've said that before, but just make sure you check out her channel. Her and I, we have the most epic, awesome reads literally ever. So we read Mark Morris's book Toady together last year, and so this year we buddy read Stitch, and we both ended up loving it. We both ended up giving it 5 stars. So the essential premise, to wrap it all up, it's kind of hard to explain. There are these kids at, college, and they notice that after going to this club meeting run by this guy named Dan, that their friend is starting to act really weird, almost like a cult type of situation where she's thinking that Dan is some kind of god and he knows what's best, and it's not just her that ends up getting put under the spell of Dan and the organization that he runs called The Crack. But there's much more going on. There is a character named Stitch, and he's got a bigger role to play in the story. Lots of crazy things happen. Just like with Toady, the horror imagery is some of the best I've ever read. Mark Morris is so underrated. After finishing Stitch, I literally went onto Amazon and eBay and bought a ton of freaking books by Mark Morris, because I was like, I need to read, like, everything by Mark Morris, and why aren't people, like, screaming from the rooftops about his work? And so I will scream from the rooftops now about his work. I am planning to make a video that's like an author highlight / book haul, and I'm going to haul all my new Mark Morris books and talk about why people should give his books a chance, and I'll read some summaries and synopses of his books that I just bought. I'm still waiting on some of them to come in, so that'll be in February. As I'm filming this, we are approaching the end of January. I've been doing this vlog for like freaking weeks, but it's been fun. I already read Gnelfs, like I told you guys. I finished Stitch, and also I started, and I'm almost finished, with Pin by Andrew Neiderman. I know in an earlier clip I said I didn't think I would read it. However, I was like, I gotta read it anyway. Why not document it? I'm not releasing the vlog for a while. So Pin follows this brother and sister, and the brother and sister, they have this doll that has always been around, and who introduced them to this medically correct, anatomically correct, I should say, doll is their father, who's a doctor. So Pin was kind of like a tool he used in his office to put patients at ease, but it's like the dad doesn't know how to talk to his kids, so instead of like talking to his kids and telling them about things, about, the birds and the bees and about life in general, sometimes he'll talk through Pin, almost like they're one of his patients. His kids are his patients. Anyway, it's very weird. Like, why can't you just talk to your kids? Anyway, so obviously this kind of messes up the kids psychologically. And as they grow up, they don't really outgrow Pin, and more develops. The brother and sister also have a very odd relationship to one another, and that is just strange in itself. There's a lot of like sexual tension between them, and it's kind of obvious that there's something more going on between them than like a normal brother and sister. Anyway, whatever, that part's weird and disturbing, but the story itself is a wild ride, and I've got like 20 pages left, and I'm kind of excited. This is definitely, unless the end totally lets me down, it's going to be at least a 4-star read, but I'm even thinking it's closer to a 4.5 because it's just been such a zany, wild, fun ride. So we'll see how that develops, but so far I'm loving my freaking reading life. So I'll catch up with you guys when I'm finished with Pin. Sorry for the crazy hair. I just showered and finished exercising before that, and it's been crazy. But I did want to check in, my last check-in, and tell you guys that I finished frickin' Pin by Andrew Neiderman, and boy was it crazy. I gotta say, I know it's disturbing to some people. I mean, it's disturbing to me too, but some people, you know, just didn't want to keep going and DNF'd it, which I think is perfectly reasonable because it is creepy. Essentially, there's a very strange relationship between the brother and sister. It's just abnormal as hell. But the part with Pin, the doll, is just so fascinating and unusual and creepy, and it's so psychological, the entire freaking book. And the ending is great. I love the end. So I gotta say, I actually think Pin is one of the better Paperback From Hell reads that I've read. And I gotta say, this entire vlog has been a huge success because in January, I read so many good old school horror books, and just loving my reading life right now. I'm living the best reading life of all time right now. It's so great. I'm very happy. So Pin, at first I was just going to give it a 4, but the more I think about it, I really think it deserves a 4.5 because I do think it's like top tier, crazy, trashy, zany, old school paperback read. I say trashy, I mean, it's actually pretty decently written. I could see why they chose him to write for V.C. Andrews because the style, the type of story that he wrote for Pin, I could just see it meshing really well with, you know, Flowers in the Attic type of scenarios going down. So I just really enjoyed Pin. I freaking love Stitch. That was a 5-star flippin' read. Mark Morris, I will shout from the rooftops about his name from now till the end of time. I do not care. I will have to shout out about it because he is so marvelous. And finally, Gnelfs, the book that I started this vlog with, was a huge surprise. I heard it was fun, but I didn't realize how fun it would be. It started off a tiny bit, you know, not slow, but I didn't like the main character, the mom, right away, but then it got better and better and so zany, and I love the audiobook. So yeah, that wound up being either a 4 or a 4.5. I think it was a 4.5 for me. So much fun. I want to read more by Sidney Williams, and apparently he's a Louisiana native. Hello! I don't know why I just screamed hello. Like he could hear me. Like, fellow Louisiana and hello! Like he doesn't even live here anymore. So anyway. That's dumb. Alright, forget it. Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap up this vlog because clearly I'm out of my mind and delusional right now and acting just wild and zany for no reason. Maybe because I'm talking about a zany book like Gnelfs and so it makes me act a little wild and weird. I don't know. I'm not going to try to explain it or figure it out, but all I know is this vlog was so much fun, and I can't wait to do more Paperback From Hell reading vlogs. And it's a shame that I haven't been doing this all along because I actually am somebody who reads quite a bit of Paperback From Hell type of reads, like quite a lot. And I hardly ever do a thematic vlog surrounding reading more than one at one time. So yeah, I'm gonna have to repeat this because I think it was a real success and I'm very pleased with the results. Guys, if you are interested in vintage horror, I really think some of these books could be good for you. But look up trigger warnings because vintage horror, it's notorious for having some non-PC things, some triggering things. You know, you might want to look up content warnings just to make sure because you never know. Vintage horror, it was a different time back in the day when these books were written, so you gotta be careful if there's anything you're worried about, and just double check and do your research. But me, personally, I had a wonderful time! Alright guys, I want to thank you for watching this vlog. Sorry I didn't put as much B-roll in as I usually do, but hopefully you still enjoyed it nonetheless. For this time, guys, that is it for me. Till next time, you know what you can do. Keep on killing it, and I'll see you next time in
Hell.
not real hell, like in Paperback From Hell. Anyway, which is a fun place, apparently. Alright, bye guys.